It's your boy jonni.shreve. I have BB promise to tell like it is, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Coaching Up, guys. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe. A lot of you guys are watching the channel, but you're not subscribing. So subscribe right now so you can get all the behind the scenes of my prep. 3 weeks out from the Tampa Pro, my 212 debut. I've been an open bodybuilder since I turned pro in 2017 and dropped down weight class. Anyway, let's get it started. So this is a video that I was gonna do already, and then damn Greg and his damn team is so quick on things, and they already did the video on Athlean's worst to best chest workouts. If that's actually the right thing for it. Anyway, instead of me just doing Athlean video, I'm actually gonna coach up both of them because I find that both make some mistakes, and I'm gonna chime in. I'm gonna give you guys information on basically these exercises and just giving you guys the actual good tips and advice to how you should or should not apply these exercises in your workout. So regardless of where they place them first or last, I'm gonna tell you guys if there's good information or not. Let's go.
Coach Greg, and today we're going over the best and worst exercises that you can do for your chest based on Athlean X. And who doesn't like a well-developed chest? I watched Jeff's video, not very impressed, was highly disappointed.
I was very disappointed too. So I watched this video too first, and then my editor's like, man, you should do a video on that. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get to it. And then all of a sudden, Greg already did it. And I'm like, man, if I wasn't prepping, I already be on the video days ago. Either way, I'm like, guess what? I get to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I get to coach up Athlean X and Greg Doucette. Let's go.
So without further ado, let's dive right into it.
So what you see behind me is a bunch of different chest exercises. Today, I'm gonna rank them from the worst
to best.
So he's tried to label them in 5 different categories from worst to best, but none of that matters. We're starting with the worst exercises, moving on to the best ones.
Bottom of the list, right here with the bench fly. When you perform it on a bench in this unsupported way with no safety net, you increase the risk of damage to the anterior shoulder caps.
And his #1 ranked worst exercise, the one you shouldn't do, is lying down dumbbell flies. It's not that bad, Jeff.
I gotta agree. Lying down dumbbell flies isn't that bad at all, especially if you're doing it properly. It's definitely the worst exercise. If you think about it, to be honest, your chest job is shoulder adduction. So most fly movements are doing exactly what the chest is supposed to do. Your clavicle head, your sternal head, and your intercostal head all attached to your humerus, and they pull your arm in. So doing a fly isn't a bad exercise. It's not definitely something that's gonna hurt you as much as something like a bench press would. I've never seen anyone tear their pec doing dumbbell flies. I haven't. And most people don't really go heavy on dumbbell flies to begin with. Most of the time they're just doing it wrong. So all they need is some better encouragement on how to do it right. Let's go.
Oh, it can hurt the shoulders and cause pec tears. How many people do you know have torn their pecs doing dumbbell flies?
I've never seen any.
I don't know any.
Yeah, I don't see any.
In comparison, how many of you seen tear their chest doing a bench press? Quite a bit. So
remember that, doing a bench press. Quite a bit of people will have torn their in the chest doing a bench press. I want you to go back to that. Something that's gonna hurt you as much as something like a bench press would, because I've never seen anyone tear their pec doing dumbbell flies. Anyway, so when you're doing like any kind of fly, what you want to do is make sure that, again, I've always made these cues that when we're going back to make sure that our fists don't pass our chest, don't go lower than our chest, so we can keep the isolation and movement onto our chest. So we can flex and move that weight up. Even when Athlean X is demonstrating it, he's coming all the way down and doing this. He's not even demonstrating it right. So I don't agree with that at all. Next.
Standing cable press. And the issue with the standing cable press is it provides more of a challenge to your core than the muscles you're actually trying to build.
And I have to agree with Jeff here. This exercise, it's going to put tremendous strain on your core. Most people are going to be too strong to perform this exercise with any significant weight. So rather than training your chest effectively, you end up just training your core and stumbling around trying to...
Okay, so here's why I gotta disagree. #1, if I go back to this, is like, I have to go to this. I have to go to this shit. Because I coach people one-on-one every day. These guys don't. They talk about it. I coach people. I apply this shit. Well, they just talk it. Look, I'm gonna show you how he's doing the damn exercise. First of all, his shoulders are freaking going down like this. His chest isn't up. His arms are going too far back. They're too narrow. Any movement you can do that you have to engage your core is a damn good movement. Why? Because nobody uses their core. Even when you're sitting on a flat bench, incline bench, a 90-degree angle, anything you're doing, you should be engaging your core. So if you're doing a movement that you have to really focus on engaging your core, that means you're able to isolate your other movements better, because guess what? Your core is your TVA. The TVA wraps on your entire waist that keeps this thing stable from doing all this wonky shit, yes, it's a good movement to do. Now, you don't want to sit there and load up. I wouldn't use it as like, you know, one of your main exercise, but I would definitely use it as something like maybe like a pre-exhaust, similar to like even doing cable flies. But it's definitely not a bad exercise. For anyone to say that is a bad movement, probably has bad core activation. Just saying. Gotta disagree. Sorry about that. And let's just get things straight. I don't really care what it is from first to last to worst. I don't really care. I'm just telling you guys the movement itself, if it's good or if it's not, and how you can benefit by doing the movement. But so far, it's not that good, man. I feel like when people run out of content, they just start putting things together, just, you know, don't make sense. Anyway, let's go.
And when it comes to the incline bench press, what angle are you setting it at? Because it really matters in terms of the gains that you see from the exercise, especially up here in the upper chest. The 60-degree incline bench press has to get the big red X.
And I have to agree, the incline bench press at 60 degrees, it places way too much emphasis on the shoulders and not enough on the chest, so it's not a great exercise to do for your chest.
And I 100% agree. I have people do very high incline, but that is primarily to hit your anterior delts and a little bit of pec minor. Here's the reason why. Your anterior delts do help with shoulder adduction. Your pec minor, or your clavicle head that attaches still to your humerus, those do the same movements, similar. They aid each other. So someone that's trying to really build their chest up here and that front delt shot, say if you're a bodybuilder and you want to build more of that crab shot, or you just want to have a better overall like shelf to the top, it's not a bad thing to do that movement, but for sure, it's not something that I would have as my chest workout. That's something I would use as my shoulder workout, that I'm just putting it back a slight little angle to hit a little bit more of that adduction from your shoulders. That's it. So I definitely agree. Now, sometimes I add this stuff into a push-pull leg, so you're getting some shoulders in it, but it's specifically a high incline shoulder press.
By the way, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter
whether it's a dumbbell or a barbell. At 60 degrees, it's not a great exercise.
All right.
Because the basic push-up is oftentimes, as I pointed out in our major criteria in the beginning of this video, not challenging enough.
Push-ups.
No, the push-up isn't the fourth worst exercise you can do.
All right, I'm not even gonna go on with it. Okay, listen, I thought primarily his audience is more for those who are beginners, which is good because, you know, beginners need to have help. And, you know, going through my channel, we really want to revert to going back to giving our knowledge to people who don't really understand or know. Because from what I thought that beginners were, most of you guys aren't beginners. You guys are pretty damn advanced. So when it comes to like those who are out there starting their journey in training, if you can't do a push-up, you shouldn't be on a bench. You shouldn't be in a machine. You should be doing dumbbells. You should be doing a push-up first, before you do anything. The push-up should almost be number one for anybody starting their journey and trying to build a chest. Again, if you can't perform a push-up, there's no way in heck you're performing a dumbbell press, machine press, any kind of press. So I don't know how the heck he has that down there at all, but yeah, maybe it's not that challenging, but guess what? You go do your first 2 presses and then strap some bands in the back and do push-ups and see how hard it is. You can always make the exercise harder, but the load itself, guys, understand this. A push-up is a modified plank. It's another movement again where you're engaging your core. And what do we not do enough? Engage your core.
Really, Jeff? Are you hanging out with professional bodybuilders? The push-up is too easy for most people?
Yo, I do.
You gotta be kidding me. And even if it is too hard, use some bands.
And I agree with Greg on that one. Anyway, let's go next exercise.
At the floor fly. I'm a much bigger fan of this exercise because it gives us a chance to have resisted adduction, but we get a chance to do it in a safer setting with the floor acting as the safety net.
No, I disagree. Floor flies are not...
Floor flies are floor press. I will put higher up on the list because, again, we are able to get all the way down. Our elbows, the back of our arms touch the floor, and we have a really good position to have great shoulder adduction and chest activation. We have a good 90 degrees and we can press all the way up. Now doing a fly, we're coming down here. The whole point of doing a fly is so we can get a more stretch from that elbow going behind us, but still keeping our fist in front of our chest. We don't want to come back here. Not saying that, not at all. We want to come back to here so we can get the elbow behind so we can stretch that chest and then pressing it up and squeezing it in. Now, when you're doing it on the floor, you can't do that because you're only getting to here. So you're not getting the benefits of the whole entire reason why you're doing a fly, which is to stretch this muscle even more. Again, when you're doing this, don't let your hand, your fist go behind your chest. You cannot flex your chest with your fist back here. Make sure your fist stays above your chest. Bad. I just not get info. This is not good.
Not better than doing flies on a bench. It's very difficult to get any range of motion.
Yeah, and the fact that has this up there and then bench flies at the bottom, like I said, I just think he's running out of content. He just putting things. Hey man, let's put the best worst chest workouts. How do you want to put it together? I don't know. Just put it together. I don't care. Just something. They'll believe me anyway. I got 11 million subscribers. Doesn't matter. Shit. Like, I don't care how big this channel gets, consistency is key. I will never give you guys bullshit. And if I can't find information that's good, you're not gonna get the information. I'll just regurgitate shit I've already said before in a better way for those who probably are newer to the channel. Keep regurgitating that stuff because you can't say more. I remember my editor saying like, hey man, is there a way you can like run out of content and talking about doing squats and stuff? Like, there's no freaking way you can run out of information or run out of talking about good form because it has to be reiterated over and over and over again. That's what happens with big channels. They get too big and then all of a sudden they're like, I said this before, they're not gonna wanna hear it. Let's get us some new information. No, stick to the stuff that's actually been working and let people understand it more and more so they can get better and better and better. Then we get new subscribers that hear the same shit. Then your awesome subscribers, like mine, are having these great conversations and they're building each other up and they're iron sharpening iron in these freaking awesome freaking threads. Shit. Love you guys. You're the best damn supporters there is. My subs are dope. That's all I gotta say. Anyway, let's go.
It's not a great exercise for your chest.
It's not.
It's better than nothing. If you don't have a bench and you're training at home, sure. But it's not a great exercise to do.
And it's the underhand dumbbell bench
Stupidest move I've seen in my life. I don't even have this in any program I've ever done. I don't even know why. That is not a good movement to do at all. It's not. Like, just stick to the basics that work. How many people aren't doing, like, again, who's the audience we're talking about here? Have we exhausted all resources in any kind of pressing that now we have to do supinated pressing on a flat bench? Come on, Athlean X. I didn't want to coach that up. It's garbage. Don't do that, please. And if you guys are here from this channel, I'm sorry, I might be offending you guys, but I don't care. Some guy's gonna do this, a girl or circle's gonna do this and hurt themselves. The next said I could do this, and they hurt their shoulder. Dumb movement. I'm not even gonna coach that up. The stupidest thing I've seen in my life.
The twisting push-up. And the main thing we're getting here is this additional relative adduction.
Have you ever in your life seen any human being do a twisting push-up?
Okay, like, this is the most contradictory freaking list I've seen in my life. First, you have push-ups at the beginning that aren't good, but then you have the twisted push-up that nobody does at the top of your list. Do you know how much more core activation you need to be able to do this? You said that standing cable press wasn't good because you have to use too much core, and then said push-ups weren't good because they're too easy, but then you're putting a modified twisting push-up that needs you to do the mix of push-ups, a plank, and core? Make up your mind, man. This is not good information. It's confusing. This is extremely confusing, and nobody does this. I don't want to see any of you guys doing this movement, please. I don't want to see any of you doing this at all. I've coached fitness athletes that have to do routines for, like, in bodybuilding shows. They're not even doing this kind of stuff. Jesus.
I mean, he missed so many normal or common chest exercises, but chose to show a twisting push-up. I mean, he skips the pec deck. He skips over most machines you can use to your chest.
It's true.
Yet chooses to talk about a twisting push-up. No, a twisting push-up is not a great exercise to do.
See, the thing about the cable crossover is it not only gives us a chance to get more adduction because you're going to get our hands slightly across midline.
Can I ask you guys a question? Does that look similar to what he said about doing a standing press? Here's a problem I have with Greg and Athlean X at this point. At the beginning of this, he said that doing the press, the standing press, wasn't good. The difference between the standing press and the standing cable fly in the way he's demonstrating it is one's doing this and the other one's doing this. From your shoulders to your feet are the exact same, but doing the standing press and the cable was at the bottom of the list, but doing cable fly crossovers, which are done wrong. I had one of my athletes do this the other day, and he was doing flies, and I watched him do it, and he must have been watching Athlean X. And it's an old school way of doing flies, of doing this kind of stuff. Ugh. You don't need to do it. Look what your hand, guess what my hand does? Look, again, here, just so we can just make this clear. Our clavicle head, our sternal head, and our intercostal head that chest attaches to your humerus and it pulls it in. That's as far as it pulls it in. For me to do this, I gotta start pushing out through my back. So my range of motion is already here. There's no need to go all the way like this. Do you see a pec deck that makes you cross over? I'm sick of seeing that movement. It's bad. Don't do it. You stay here, stack the joints, and you push and you squeeze. And you try to squeeze your elbows together like you're trying to break something in the middle, like with your elbows. So from the side, you look like this. You don't look like this. Yeah, you really are right. Let's do this. No, from here, big chest, up, pulling in, easing in, squeeze, opening up, squeeze. He's doing the movement wrong or not optimal. Because if you're gonna do this, you might as well cross hands. I don't even see him cross his hands. Oh my God. I must have missed the boat.
I do think it should be ranked higher on the list. However, he says it's too difficult to load up enough weight. Who the heck is Jeff training? I'm a professional bodybuilder, world record in the bench press, and I can do cable crossovers with plenty of weight. If I can do cable crossovers, who the heck is too strong?
Again, contradictory even on Greg's part. You told me the first movement of doing standing press wasn't good enough because your core has to work too hard.
And I have to agree with Jeff here. This exercise, it's gonna put tremendous strain on your core.
But you can do cable flies and load it up? The pressing movement is a more dynamic and stronger movement than a fly. This is what happens when someone like myself is a coach and I coach people one-on-one because you see me do it. And the difference between somebody who just basically knows what they're talking about, went to school, and then just regurgitate what they've seen or what they've done themselves. I talked to my athlete yesterday, a brand new athlete, and said, it doesn't matter what kind of education you have. If you can't apply it to somebody else, it doesn't really matter. You have to be able to apply it. The reason why I'm good at what I do when it comes to explaining things super easy is because I communicate with athletes, with different types of people who I have to explain things to and find the easiest way for them to get in position, to be able to do the movement. I can't stand this. The video is kind of making me mad. I mean, it's because I'm dieting. I don't know.
And I do agree that the line cable bench press is a great exercise. However, for me, very difficult to exercise control. It requires a lot of stability in the freaking attachment. It's scraping up on my arm. So I'm doing this
and wrong. All right, here's where I go again. The incline or flat or bench, flies, press is only hard when your core isn't engaged. That's why. You shouldn't be moving like this. If you're moving like this, it's because your core isn't engaged. That's a problem. When you're doing a movement, your core, everything in your body is engaged in an isometric hold for you to be able to move and isolate the movement. So if my chest is the thing that I'm trying to activate, that means my torso, my glutes, my hamstrings, my quads, my feet are all gripped, strong, and stuck in the ground, engaged, so I can isolate my chest. Like, come on, I don't get a master's, and I'm not Athlean X. And if the cables are rubbing on your arm, adjust the cables.
Freaking attachment, it's scraping up on my arm, so I'm doing this, and it's scraping on my arms.
Are you kidding me? I don't like doing that movement because the cables are hitting my arms? Jesus Christ. Next.
And it's the dumbbell upper chest pullover. And I'm careful to add the designation of upper chest to make sure people understand that there's a way to perform this to favor the upper chest rather than the lats.
No, a dumbbell pullover is a top exercise for your chest. What are you talking about? No, it's a lat exercise. It's working the lats. It's also going to put a lot of strain on the triceps more so than the chest. I hardly feel any activation in the chest whatsoever. And I've done this exercise for years, but not for the chest.
Okay, so a dumbbell pullover is not a top exercise for a chest, but it definitely can be when you have flexion and extension in your elbows. That's how it turns into it on accident. Now, I'm not saying it's a top movement for it. I'm saying you do it on accident and, you're moving your chest. I see a lot of people do this and they do it wrong when they're doing back day and they're like, am I doing this right? One of my athletes has sent me 1,000 videos on, am I doing this right yet? I'm like, keep your arms straight. It's a lat activation. Doing a dumbbell pullover is the exact same thing as doing a straight arm pull down. But if I do a straight arm pull down and I start bending my elbows, I'm gonna feel my triceps and my chest firing off, what they shouldn't. This is bad information. Very, very bad. Like, how the heck do you have that at the top and push-ups to the bottom. Like if you're a beginner and you're like, oh, so push-ups aren't really that good, but I should do dumbbell pullovers and then cable crossovers, but I shouldn't do push-ups, but I should do twisted push-ups. This is the most contradictory thing I've seen in my life. And I was hoping that Greg will be a little more, I mean, I know he disagreed, but I don't agree with everything Greg says at all. There's something that I don't agree with. And with this video, there's a lot more things that he could have said that could better the information that Athlean is giving. Because right now, my shit's gold. You're learning more from me on coaching these two. I don't have a master's. I'm not Athlean. This happens when you coach people. You apply your knowledge to people all the time. Application is key.
And for me, the dip is the best version of a push-up. If you think about it, the dip is essentially a suspended push-up, especially if you angle your body more forward to favor the chest.
No, the dip is not a version of the push-up. The dip, it's a dip. And the dip, it can be dangerous. It's very hard on the shoulders.
Okay, the dip is not a version of push-up whatsoever. The dip is actually a version of a decline bench. And at the top of the list, this reminds me of going to those commercial gyms and seeing a coach or a personal trainer do all this wonky ass shit with the athlete, and I'm just like, what are you? And I can hear them talk, and I'm just like, and it's grinding my gears, and I just wanna like intervene so bad. I just wanna go over there and be like, yo, dude, get your money back, leave. That is the dumbest. No, how is that at the top? How is that at the top? A dip again. Who's the audience? How many people off the street going for their journey to fitness can go and do a bodyweight dip? Nobody. I coach people. Nobody can. If you're brand new, you're not doing dips. You're doing it in a machine, at least. Or banded with some resistance bands that help you on the way up. Like, this is terrible. I don't want to stick on this. I'm going to keep going. I'm like just wasting my time talking about that.
It becomes more of a tricep exercise.
It's all tricep. Dip's tricep. Yes, dip is tricep. Yes, you can hit your chest a little more if you angle yourself a little further over. But guess what? You start, and most people start to really kill their anterior delts because they rely way too much on that because they have too much anterior rotation of delts on the way down. It's not a good exercise primarily for chest. It's a tricep exercise. Period.
This is the heavy one-arm crossover. And how is this different from the crossover? Well, in a very important way. Number one, much more stability.
Oh my God. Okay, again, I'm not picking on it. I'm giving you guys the same information. Watch the same video you're watching. The beginning of the video said that standing cable press is too hard of an exercise because you're weighting too much on the core.
And the issue with the standing cable press is it provides more of a challenge to your core than the muscles you're actually trying to build.
But doing a one-arm one is at the top of the list? Come on. I'm not even next.
So he has the incline bench at 60 degrees as the third worst exercise you can do, but at 30 to 45 degrees, he ranks it almost to the top, number 13, almost the best exercise, 30 to 45. Which is it? Well, here's my opinion. 45 is too much. 30 degrees at most. When you're doing an incline bench, you don't want the incline to be excessive. 15 to 30 degrees is fine.
All right, I gotta disagree with Greg. Here's flat. Here's 15. Here's flat, 15, 30, 45. Mostly every bench that is fixed in a gym is on a 45-degree angle. Let me move even forward onto this. When I played football, when we did the bench press, we did 225. It functionally didn't make any sense because nobody's pushing straight like this. You're always doing this. Most people aren't doing this. So for functionality, incline should be at the top. Here's another reason why. Most people are very extremely weak at their clavicle head. You know why? Because everybody does flat bench. I'm not saying flat bench is a bad exercise. I'm saying that everybody does flat bench because it's the king of all benches. But guess what? I only do 45 degrees and 30 degrees. That's it. And my flat is 15 because my chest is not developed up here that much and most people's aren't. So I gotta disagree. And obviously Greg's not gonna agree because Greg's a powerlifter and that's all he does is flat bench. But guess what? Go ask Greg how his shoulders are feeling. Ask him. Let me know how he feels. I can tell you he feels like shit because he's got injury. Why? Excessive flat benching. But guess what? Incline's bad. Man, like, I gotta disagree, man.
The barbell or the dumbbell bench press.
And I got to agree, number one, the bench press, the king of all lifts.
Wrong. Now, this is completely, that's just my opinion. Now, I do know the benefits of doing bench. Now, let me tell you this right now. If you want to do bench press, any bench press, flat bench, you are 100% going to injure your shoulders at some point. Now, to help yourself not get injured or to delay that is by doing what we call biochromal bench press. It's basically going like almost like shoulder width apart. Not close grip, but like almost like a little bit outside shoulder width apart. Now, you're not gonna get that much of a load onto your chest because the deductions is great being outside this way, doing flat. But when you're doing flat like this, you are gonna avoid being injured longer. And if you're like, well, how do I hit my chest more? Then at the end, well, then you go on something incline, open up a little more, and then you do your fly movements. There's so many different ways around doing bench that you don't have to do flat bench in order to get a big chest, okay? Yes, it's a good movement to do. Yes, you get the most load because you're on your back and the gravity is hitting it the most. Of course, I get that. But that is the movement where most people get injured. Flat bench. Just saying. But if anything, yeah, flat bench and incline is at the top, for sure. Any of those two there, dumbbell or barbell, okay? Now, I would, for those people who aren't really good at doing bench press at all, whatever, I will start off doing push-ups. Once you're better at doing push-ups, move into a machine, right? I don't know why I didn't say any machines that are in there. There's so many machines you could have used easily. That's an extremely terrible list. I wouldn't listen to that list whatsoever. I'll take my advice just because I coach people all the time. And I've been through it and seen the difficulties of people trying to do certain exercises, especially people trying to do a push-up. Anyway, guys, I'm dieting, so I'm a little more aggro these days. You know, I'm a little more aggravated. That kind of aggravated me a little bit. But I'm passionate about this stuff because I want to see people actually get good at it, do well with it, and enjoy it, and stay away from injury. Guess what? I got a little bit of injury. I've been avoiding those things a little more, think a lot more about time and attention, really squeezing and being conscious of the reps that I'm doing. Not saying I'm lighting the load just to be, you know, training really easy, but when it comes down to it, your job is to make sure you're contracting the muscle as much as possible under load and exhausting it. Anyway, guys, hope you liked the video, guys. If you did, make sure you like, subscribe, and share. You don't become with that transparent, tell you like it is, vulnerable truth. And for coaching, guys, jonni.shreve.com. My consults are back up, so if you want to know what my coach is all about, guys, book a phone consult, 15 to 30 minutes. At the end of that consult, if you want to go with coaching, I deduct the consult off of any package you pick, whether it be a one-time plan or a recurring plan, guys. So book one right now and get on the team. We are just killing it. Lots of lives being changed. A lot of information is being out there, guys. I coach you throughout the week when it comes to your actual sets and reps, and as well as check-ins on the weekend, guys. Lots of communication. Anyway, guys, use my code Jonni15 for 15% off the Power 13 cookbook. And guys, use my code Johnny for 50% off Fit Army. You guys probably saw me wearing some of the clothes, guys. We were doing a collaboration. We're gonna start putting out pre-orders. You'll see that coming out very, very soon. Look for that in the next coming videos. Muscle Masochist and Iron Sharpens Iron will be out very soon. Can't wait, I'm excited. Anyway, guys, make sure you guys add me on Instagram, _JonniShreve_, send me your update pictures, send me some of your, training clips, food clips or pics or whatever it is. Just send over, guys. I'll repost it for you guys because you know how it is. Iron sharpens iron. Progressive overload your life. In the meantime, keep dream chasing. Peace. Use my code Johnny13 for. Use my code Johnny15 for 13%. Use my code Johnny15 for 15. Use my code Johnny15 for 30% off. Use my code Johnny15 for 13%.